Good evening and welcome to True Dogman Encounters. I'm your host, Marvin Allen. If you or anybody that you've known have had a sighting and would like for me to share it on my channel, please contact me. I would love to hear from you. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go and do so. Like, comment, and share. As y'all all know, I just recently started uploading encounters to my YouTube page. I haven't been doing it in a while. I did upload Ty J part 1 and part 2, and I will be releasing part 3 tomorrow. So be sure to go check that out. Y'all know I got a Facebook page. It's called True Encounters with Marvin Allen and the Doug Pack. So I'm asking all my subscribers, can y'all go over and join the page just to support it? Because without y'all, this wouldn't be possible. I love each and every one of y'all. You know, y'all stuck and stayed with me through everything that happened in 2020. And it's still affecting me to this day. But this is something that I love to do, and I'm going to continue to keep doing. Now, when it comes to these cryptids, we got to stop believing in the impossible and start believing in the possible. Because with Ty J's encounter, it's just so amazing. Because I don't know everybody that's going to be able to bond with these creatures like she did. I don't know if I'm going to ever have another eyewitness to say that they bonded with a family of these creatures, because she did it, and her story is so amazing. It's one in a million who could say that they was up close with these creatures. Not one, not two, but a family of them. So I'm blessed and I'm grateful to have had her come into my life and share her experiences with me. Now, without further ado, we're going to jump right into this encounter. Now, this encounter right here happened in Ohio, in the mountains. It was a mother and a father. They decided to go camping. They took their son and their little Doug with them. Now, the spot that they picked, they said it was nobody else in this area. They don't know why, and they didn't pay it no attention at the time. So they get to the area, they set up camp, and they all decided to just, take a nature walk, to take in the sight and the scenery. And at the time, they ain't paid no attention, but everything was okay. So they get back to their camp later that night. Now, they said the first night, all they heard was coyotes just howling through the night. The second night, the same thing. The third night, the same thing. It was on the fourth night when things started to take a turn and strange things started to happen. As they was laying in their tent, the wife said she started to hear stuff, like something was walking around. And she said during this time, her husband and her son was asleep. So she taps her husband and wakes him up and say, listen, 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 get up. So he listens. And he can hear clearly. They both can hear clearly that something is walking outside of their tent. So the wife tells the husband, look out there and see what it is. He said, no, I'm not looking out there. Just listen, maybe it'll go away. Maybe it's an animal. But she said that whatever it was outside their tent was walking bipedal. Wasn't walking quads, like on all fours. because she said she worked with animals. So she knew whatever was out there walking was walking on 2 feet. She said this went on for about 20 minutes. They never looked out the tent to see what it was. Next day come, they get up, they eat, they take a walk and everything, come back to camp. So they talking. And she asked him, she say, what do you think that was last night? He said, I don't know, maybe it was a small animal or something. But she kept sticking to her gun. She said, no, there wasn't no small animal. Whatever that was, it was heavy. So he got her to brush it off and they just didn't even think about it. Later on that night come, they back in their tent again. They said what started out as coyotes howling in the night, they said they automatically stopped. You couldn't even hear them no more. Now mind you, they was used to hearing them make this racket every night. And after they made it this night, they just stopped and they got dead quiet in this forest. It just got quiet. You couldn't hear nothing. So she laying there. Now the husband and the son, they sleep. She said for some reason she just couldn't sleep because she just felt uneasy. She said she started to hear howls, but she didn't know what they was coming from, what type of animal. But she said she started to hear howls. So she wakes her husband up again. When he wakes up, she say, listen. And he said he listened. They heard the howls again. They said the howls was loud. So after the howls, they stopped. They said after about 15 to 20 seconds, that's when they heard this low guttering growl. She said that even though it sounded low to them, she said it was so powerful that you could feel it inside your body. And the husband said the same thing, like it just vibrated them. So she was getting scared. She said, look, I think we need to pack up and go home. He said, we're gonna just stick it out and we're gonna stay here. She said, but we got our son here with us. She said, and I don't want nothing to happen. So he said, okay, we're gonna leave at the end of the week. So that's what they decided to do. So after the growls they heard, they just suddenly just stopped. So she asked the husband, can you go out there and at least look around? So he mustered up the courage, to zip down the tent and leave out. And he stands in front of it and he looks around. So he said, come here for a minute. She gets up and she goes out the tent. Now they both surveying the area, looking to their left and they looking to their right. When they look to their right, they don't see or hear nothing. When they look to their left, that's when they can hear something moving in the tree line. But they don't see nothing at this time. So she looking. So he goes back in the tent and he grabs a flashlight. He grabs a flashlight and he shines it. He takes a few steps and he shines it. He said what he caught was this black figure moving fast inside the tree line. That's all he said he seen at this time. And it just shot through the tree line and they can hear it going through the woods. So he said, I don't know what that was, but I saw something. She said, well, what do you think it was? He said, I don't know. Maybe it's one of those coyote things or something. So they goes back inside the tent. They wind up going to sleep. The next day, nighttime fall, the same thing happened again. The coyotes making all this noise. All of a sudden, it stops. So they inside the tent. Husband and his son sleep again. She can't sleep because she still feel uneasy. She don't want to be there. So she laying inside the tent. She decided to just sit up and just listen because it's dead quiet and she not used to this. She said then she can hear something walking and it's walking outside the tent. So she said while she's sitting up and she listened to this thing walk. Then the footsteps stopped. Then she said she could hear something hit the back of the tent. Boom, hit it hard. And she turns her head around and look, but she don't see nothing. After a few seconds, it does it again on the right-hand side. Boom, she looks over there because that's where her husband is sleeping. He don't even hear it. He out of it. So she hear the footsteps again, and it's walking around towards the front. And it walks around toward the front, it stopped. And she looked towards the front. And when she looked towards the front, she said she could see something pushing on the front of the tent, but she don't know what it is. So she sees something pushing on the front of the tent. She grabs the flashlight and she shines it towards the front. When she shines it towards the front, whatever was pushing on the front of that tent pulls back real quick. But she still don't know what it is. And she turns the light off again. That's when she says she hear these footsteps start up again. And it comes over to the side where she at. And stop. That's when she said she hear this heavy breathing. And then she hear, and this is her words. She said, then she hear what sounds like a dog. The sounds that it would make. Like brr, like it was, growling at her. She said it sounded like a dog. But she said it was more intense, more powerful. So she listening and she looking out the corner of her eye because this thing is making this noise right beside her. That's when she reaches over and shakes her husband again. He wakes up. He said, why is you waking me up again? She said, shh, listen. He sits up and he hears the sounds. He hears the growls. And she points like this. She say, it's over here beside me. And he say, what is it? She say, I don't know. But you hear the sounds. She said she think when they was talking, them growls got louder. And when it got louder, it hit the side of her tent again. Said it hit it so hard that it came in and hit her on the left side of her arm. And she jumped and screamed. And when she screamed, she woke her son up. That's when they can hear something running through the tree line because it's making all this noise while it's running. So she tell him again, she say, look, we need to leave. I don't want to stay to no end of no week or nothing like that. Tomorrow, I want to pack up and go. So he said, okay, that's what we'll do. So she said about 4 o'clock in the morning, she woke her husband up and said, look, I got to go out here and use the bathroom. Go with me. So he gets up and he goes out there and she goes over on the right side, to do her business. And, he's standing there and watching out, but he facing in the right or over there on the side where they at. He facing in the woods, looking in the woods. She looking on the other side. She say while she was doing her business, she looks over there and she see this one yellow eye peeking behind a tree. That's when she can notice this figure. She see a ear sticking up and she see the snout on this thing. And she said it's on 2 feet and it's looking over in her direction. And she said, baby, look. And he say, what? She say, look on the other side of the tree line. So he turns around and he look. And when he look, he say, what the? Now, mind you, he had a gun, but the gun is inside the tent. and he seen that one eye and saying what she saying, he didn't want to go, he didn't want to make no move. So she hurried up and did what she had to do, and she stood up, fixed her clothes, and they both stood there. She said that's when this thing stepped out from behind of the tree. Now they can see this creature that was making all this noise and hitting their tent. She said it looked like a black wolf to her when it stepped from behind that tree. But they said it wasn't, this thing shouldn't have been built like it was, because she said it was built like a human. She said this thing had shoulders with long arms. They said after a few seconds, this thing starts to come out the tree line and stand in their camping ground. Now they can see this creature. They both scared because the kid is inside the tent. And it's standing there. And it's breathing real heavy. And now it's growling at them. She's so scared that she's shaking. She grabs her husband. He grabs her and hold on to her. And it's just watching them. And they watching it. And this thing just growling. They said that's when this thing walks over and stands right there by their tent. They scared to death because the kid in the tent. And they don't want this creature to hurt it. They said this creature tilted his head back and it sniffed the air. And when it sniffed the air, it looked over at them again and made another growl, and it hit the tent. And then it turned, dropped to all fours, and ran up into the tree line. She said she never been so scared in her life for her son. They didn't go to sleep no more that night. They stayed up, they packed up, and they left. Now, mind you, I asked her, what did this creature look like? She said it looked like a black wolf. She said it was dark in color, wide shoulders, long arms with hands. That's what she said. She said hands. And she said this thing had long claws. She said, but the legs was that of a dog. But the torso was that of a human. She said she never seen nothing like that in her life. Now that was their encounter. And like I said, that happened in the Utah mountains. You know, a couple went out there and we're camping. So I'm going to upload this. Hope you like it and enjoy it. And don't forget, Tajay Encounter. It's coming tomorrow. And y'all going to love it.